Hello, everyone. This is Reese Madigan, the director, the writer of Cold Street, which is the audio commentary that I'm going to talk about right now. So sit back and relax as we do another audio commentary talking about the 2016 second feature indie film that I made, Cold Street. So Cold Street was a film that I had an idea for about a year. It's quite an interesting story if we go right back to the very beginning. So basically, I just moved from Milton Keynes to go to London to start university. And obviously, by then I did my very first feature, which was Big Crime in a Small Town in 2014. That became a big success. People loved the film. They thought it was really good, and they thought as a first feature it done really well. So I was like, well, maybe there could be a chance, just a slight chance, that I could do another feature. So 2015, obviously, it was a very difficult year for me that year. I'm not going to lie, it wasn't the best year of my life. Everything kind of was going wrong, and I wasn't really enjoying home life and everything like that. So, I was just so glad that I was going to university and having a fresh start and moving on from things. And obviously, I finished college as well because I've been in college for 4.5 years studying film and media and everything. So I was like, I'm ready to get out in the big world. And so, obviously, when I was in the middle of that, I was trying to write a sequel and a prequel to Big Crime in a Small Town because I tried to make a trilogy out of it. And funny enough, I did have a sequel for Big Crime in a Small Town, and it was written, but unfortunately, it never got done, so it was scrapped. But the prequel stayed and turned into Cash in the Pond, which was made a year after Cold Street's release. So that was quite interesting. So that was really good. But Cold Street, this was definitely not the best reception film that I made. It definitely had mixed to negative reviews because they didn't like the way it looked. But the thing is, as a zero budget independent filmmaker who has to make films, to get it out there, at least I'm out there making the films that I can, at least making content and a portfolio so for people to watch and to see. Because I always keep getting judged for the sound and the editing and everything like that. But if I had, and I will do, get better sound equipment and better editing equipment, I will make better films. But luckily, my short films have had a better reception and everything. And some of the previous feature films I have done, like The Wonders of Alice and everything else, have had a much, much better reception. But yeah, Cold Street was literally just the only film that I admit I did make mistakes with. And I mean, a lot of people also said it was too much like my very first film because, of the murders and all that, and the characters turning from bad to good or good to bad and stuff like that. And they were too similar and everything like that. And I just thought, well, to be honest, if that's what they think, that's what they think. But I was proud of this film. I felt happy that we finally made another second feature. It was out in 2016. I'm glad that we'd done it. Me and Charlie did quite put a lot of effort into the stuff that we did. And, every film we do does get made with a lot of care. And obviously, Cold Street was a film that was made with care, but just didn't execute as well as we thought we did. But luckily, people have said that the improvements of our recent films have come up a bit. So that's a good thing, and obviously we are aiming to make bigger films with budgets and stuff like that, like Bad Influence and stuff like that, which we are hoping to make in the future, which we will make, obviously. So that's what's happening. So this first scene, of course, we introduce our protagonist, which is, of course, Jason, which, of course, I came up with a very hilarious name for him, which is Jason Elizabeth Parker, which we thought was quite a funny name for the character, because obviously there has to be comedy with these sort of dark tone gangster genres as well. Because this was me trying to tackle the gangster genre, really. This was me trying to come up with another sort of murder story, but with gangsters instead of serial killers. And anyway, so basically, Jason, who's played by Charlie here, who does a fantastic job. I mean, all the actors do a fantastic job. Charlie, he was the villain in the very first feature I did, which was, of course, Big Crime in a Small Town. And so I wanted him to play the protagonist in this one instead to show how good of an actor he is, because he is a fantastic actor. And I'm not saying that because he's my friend. I'm saying that because it's the truth. He is a really fantastic actor. And, I always want to be the one to try and help him with his acting career and get a show reel for him and make it good and stuff like that. And he's just fantastic. He really knows how to do really good characters. I mean, obviously, when we play Archie and Jim, he plays, the character of Archie really well, really blends that character all over the place, and, really makes a comical, great character. And with other roles like this, he can play a very serious, toned character. So, he's very flexible. In a way, of what actors say, they say he's a chameleon. He can act and do different roles and different scenes and stuff. So there you go. And here, of course, we introduce our main villain, Tyson P. Finnegan, which tried to come up with a very sort of dangerous name there, Tyson P. Finnegan, who's this really sort of dangerous, nasty piece of work gangster who is out for revenge to avenge his father, because Jason's father knew his father, and it was all about the ring. Who's played marvelously by Benedict here, who I was looking for actors to play the roles, and I was like, I need a main villain, and Benedict was one of the performing arts of university to come along and say, yeah, I'm happy to do the film and play the villain. So he was very happy to do it, but he didn't like the final result of the film, and he sent me this massive, ridiculous Facebook message saying about how bad it was and how I need to do this and do that, even though I know how to make films in the first place. I'm not stupid, but he was like, you need to do this, do that, and I kept thinking to him, yeah, mate, just let me win the lottery and I'll get all that stuff sorted, but at the end of the day, he didn't understand that this was just an indie film in the first place, so I think he just didn't quite get the adjust. He thought this was obviously going to look like a flipping motion picture, but unfortunately, it wasn't, because unfortunately, what I call my films is watchable entertainment. But the good thing is that people do like the stuff that I do now because it's improved. But Benedict kind of got a little bit silly with the whole ranting thing, and he was just telling me stuff that I already knew, and I was just like, okay, so you don't like the film, just But at the end of the day, he has his opinion, but just because you have an opinion and just because you're offended by stuff doesn't mean you're in the right. So. But Benedict was just like, oh, I didn't like the way the film was executed and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, that's your opinion. So, I don't care. Because at the end of the day, you have to work with what you got. And that's what I do. And like I said, when things do improve and get better, then they can get better. But I remember as well, I had this like really horrible, nasty person follow me on YouTube. And they kept commenting on every video that I made, saying about how bad my films were. Obviously, that person was just jealous, and he or she wrote a massive, horrible rant about Cold Street and said that this film was the worst film in the whole entire universe, which I wouldn't go that far. I admitted I made mistakes with it, but yeah, it's not the worst thing I've ever done. And unfortunately, the rant was so massive on YouTube, I was just like, right, I've got to delete this comment because it's ridiculous. And that person then started to try and stalk me on Twitter and was like, why did you delete my comments? It was like, okay, this person, whoever it is just a complete creepy stalker. I mean, God, look, the thing is, if you don't like my videos, don't watch them. That's all I say. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, isn't it? If you don't like the films, you just don't watch them. I love the colours, though, in the background. A show filmed in the summer. We filmed this in the summer of 2016 because I got the script sorted from between September 2015 to, I guess, March, April 2016. Casted in May and started shooting late May, early June, and edited the entire film for 2 months, and we released this in August. And I said to Charlie as well, I was like, what's our deadline for this one? Because obviously, we released Ichabod and Mr. Toad, on December 2014, on the 9th of December, because we had to get it out as soon as possible. And as for this film, I was like, what deadline should we do? And Charlie said, let's do the 5th of August. So we just went with that because Charlie was very heavily involved with everything, like how it looked, the scenes and everything. And, because he was, he really wanted to become a sort of like big helper for this film because he just kind of acted in the first one. But then he was like, I really want to help on the second one. I was like, yeah, of course you can. And now we have RC Productions, and that's what we call ourselves. And that's what we're hoping to aim as a big business at the moment. Although at the moment it's not a profitable business, but hopefully by next year or the year after, it will be. So Benedict, despite his miserable complaints, Benedict did do a really good, fantastic job with this role, and he really gave a great comicalness to the villain character. I mean, in my creation of villains, I like them to be quite comical but threatening at the same time. And Benedict was one of the best villains we created. And obviously, I wanted it to be very different from Ichabod from the first film that I did, and he was more sort of menacing and silly and kind of wacky, but did a very good job. But with the other villains I've created, like the Princess from Wonders of Alice, she, played by Alex Johnstone, she did a fantastic job. She then became my favourite villain of the piece, and then Charlotte as well did a fantastic job playing the villain of Looking Glass. And then obviously we had Rihanna playing the villain in Pine, who did a fantastic job. So the villains have now, like, they've really have up their game in terms of how I write and create them. So we managed to create some really great villains of our films. And there's Charlie again doing his fantastic little performance there. We filmed this little bit in Green Park, actually. Did a little bit of like guerrilla filming and just went into Green Park and just shot that under a tree. And here's William Prowse, who, by the way, actually liked the movie. So good, thank you, William. I remember I bumped into him on my first term of second year of uni, and he saw me, and I told him, "Did you watch the film?" And he said, "Yeah, he really liked it," and I was really happy that he did. And the character that he dressed up as, like wearing the leather jacket and the glasses, I remember I said to him, like, "I need you to dress like this." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, sure." And then he looked at me and said, "So you want me to dress up like a 70s character?" And I was like, "Well, if that's what you want to call it, fair enough." So we laughed about that, and I said to him, "Wow, look at him! It's like John Travolta from Greece." So, but his image matched the thought of what I visualised the character to be, and he played it very well, and he played a very funny, sort of silly kind of psychic to the villain. But obviously, William Prowse's character is a very important key to this film, because when his character gets killed off, that's when all the misunderstandings and stuff begins to happen. So William does play a very important key role to the film, just like Ellica played a very important key to her character Pearl when Lester kills her. So we had to make sure there's very important keys to those characters to link up with the stories. And the bridge that they're standing on, most of this was filmed in Boston Manor Park. The bridge that they're standing on was actually used for many other projects and films, like for BBC, ITV, because we used to have a lot of filmmakers come to this location for filming. And the bridge that they're on was actually used for a gangster film that Jamie Foreman, the actor who played Derek Brown in EastEnders, actually played in, where he killed a guy who owed him money to kill him on the bridge. They was on the bridge, and that was the actual bridge that they acted on. And I remember when I first moved to university with the accommodation, I was looking around Boston Manor Park. I had a big explore, walked around, and I found the bridge, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's the exact same bridge that they filmed this film starring Jamie Foreman as a gangster." And it was really good. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was like really, really shocked that it was there. And so I was like, I've got to use that for filming. So we did. We went out and we used it, and and it came up with some really good, terrific scenes we did for the movie, and that makes the settings look really good. So I was very happy that we had that location and we used it for. And with Boston Manor Park, like, I'm so happy how, like, the location that I've used, and I've managed to make it look bigger and make it look very different from the other areas, so it doesn't look like it's all in the same place. I like what I've done with it, and I like how it's all kind of been put together, because locations, you've got to admit, despite what everyone thinks of this film, you've got to admit the locations are just amazing, and I love what they look like. And because I haven't seen this film in actually a very long time, it's kind of nice to kind of look back on everything and think, wow, that's where I filmed, and this is where I was at uni, and oh my god, I remember this and stuff like that. So it was quite amazing to look back on this now and be like, oh wow, I remember this, and and I remember where we filmed this and when we did that. So it's quite nostalgic. I mean, this was 2016, so this was 5 years ago. So it was quite a long time. But I just can't believe it was already 5 years ago, because it feels like yesterday that we were making this film, and it's already gone into 5 years. So it's madness how quick the years have gone, and how many films that I've managed to make in the process during those years. So this bit was filmed at my university accommodation, because obviously I was going to the University of West London, and this is in Paragon. and we used it to film the sort of house scenes, I guess you could say. And there, of course, is my old friend Grazi, who was pretty much my best friend of university. We hung out a lot together at university. We worked together on projects. We were teammates in university stuff. And funny thing is, when we met, we she told me that she also wanted to be an actress and stuff. So when she asked if she could be part of this project, I was like, well, definitely. I mean, I couldn't think of anybody else to play Rita, and I thought, there was no one else I'd be comfortable with to have to play Rita than Grazi, obviously, because I didn't know about that many actresses when I was going to uni. So Grazi was happy to take the role. She loved the script, and she was very happy to do it. And I was just a bit worried that when we were put together, that it wouldn't look like we was like a proper couple, because Warren and Rita have to look, like a real couple, and it has to feel real. So we did this scene right here that you're seeing now. We filmed this one day in a beautiful summer day, and I had to make sure that the chemistry was right between us. So I showed this scene to Charlie, and he said the chemistry between the two characters was amazing. So I was very happy about that. And it does work. I mean, Grazi is definitely, in my opinion, one of the best actors in this film, because she delivers a lot of great facial expressions, a lot of emotion, and she also, this is no joke, she actually cried in all the scenes that she had to cry in. Like, she literally got the tears out. She did the sad scenes and everything. Like, she really cried, and she just literally gave it her all. And I just said to her, "Wow, like, you have done an amazing job, like, doing these scenes, like, really got into it." And I was just so happy that she really played it out so well. And the chemistry does seem to work between us. I mean, these moments here where we look at each other, they just work so well. Just the non-dialogue scenes. I just love the face expression right here. This is the part of the silent bit right there. Again, another great little moment there with the silence and Grazi's emotions and face. She just pulled it off so well. And again, the bridge used again. I use the bridge quite a lot in this movie, but the bridge, it just felt right to use. It just looked great. It felt like the right thing, and it just matched it so well. It just worked out so well for the location. I love as well the sun is beaming like down there on the trees there, and like even like just like I'm so glad that the sun was really like out there when we were doing this, because it really just matched the tone of the scene and the tone of the film, and like making it emotional and making it powerful, and really like added the emotions there for the entire film. But I used Boston Manor quite a lot for other films as well. Like, I also used it for Archie and Jim. I used it for The Wonders of Alice. It's because it was just one of my favourite locations. But then obviously, because a lot of people couldn't get to Boston Manor quite well because it was quite too far for people, I managed to use other locations to find. And obviously, there's places like Chingford, and there's also other places as well to use. And we really made it look like just so well. Like, it just blended in so well with all the other locations we've been using. And again, here again, Grazi gives out probably one of her best performances as well. But despite these really great scenes, my favourite one will be coming up soon, where Warren wants to get back with Rita, and Rita tells Warren it's over, and then things just get a little bit intense from there. And that's when Grazi really put on the tears for this scene, and you know, she just nailed it so well. Like that was definitely the best one. And this was definitely filmed on a different day, even though it looked like we filmed this on one day. We actually had to film this scene on another time because Grazzi wasn't available for long on the first day. But luckily, the second day that we went out filming this, we did this on another day. So even though it looks like it was filmed in one day, it actually wasn't. We actually filmed this, I think, 2 days later, 3 days later. Um, but we managed to squeeze it in, and luckily we're wearing the same clothes that we wore before. So I was like, you know, make sure we've got the same clothes. It's all the same day. It's all the same thing. You know, we have to put it all together. And you know, I was just so glad that it all managed to match the continuity of it all and put it straight. You know, the only difference is that because obviously I wasn't wearing the same black shirt, I had to zip up my zip up my my tracksuit there, as you can see. I actually miss that old tracksuit. I used to wear that one all the time. But you know, you grow out of old clothes. It's like that old hat that I'm wearing there. That old hat got wore out as well, so obviously I don't have that hat anymore. Yeah, the old good old times of looking back and saying, "Oh yeah, do you remember we used to wear that?" Again, I haven't seen this film for a while, so I can't really remember what I was wearing at the time and stuff. But you know, but again, it doesn't really matter because you know, as long as it matches the character and everything, it's fine. But that's the difference is, you know, because these characters, they, you know, not all of them are in costume. You know, Warren and Rita, they're just two normal people at the minute who wear normal clothes. But then you've got people like Jason, who's a detective, that will wear like a long coat. And then you've got Benedict, who is the gangster, who will wear a suit. And, you know, Benedict was like, oh, you know, do I always wear the suit in the film? And I was like, no, you've got to wear something different for the last scene, and that's what he did. He ended up wearing like a hoodie, which really worked, and I liked that. Now, this scene here with Jason and Benedict, Jason and Tyson, sorry, got to get the characters and the real names right. Um, Now, this involved a lot of takes because Charlie could not stop laughing at Benedict's performance here when he was poking his head saying, "You get Ring, I get Randall, all sound good," and like we did that, and honestly, the amount of laughter that we got from this was just absolutely hilarious. Charlie just lost it, like he honestly just lost it, and it was funny. But it took about 5 takes, and we had to stop for about a good 5-10 minutes to get Charlie to literally laugh his head off, get it all done, and then he was sorted. But it was honestly one of the funniest things. I loved as well. I do love. I keep forgetting about this. I love how Benedict, the way he keeps touching Charlie there on the shoulder and sorting out his coat and giving him taps on the shoulder and stuff. I just love those little moments that he did. You know, because he really is trying to show his sort of friendly slash threatening side, and being very manipulative and being quite, you know, all over the place. You know, I just like how they pitched it together. I mean, the chemistry between the two did really well. See, that's the part right there that Charlie just could not stop laughing at. They both do, but just deliver their lines so well in this scene, though. And I was quite happy with the scene, how it was written and how they delivered it. But like I said, the entire film didn't get a great reception. But at the same time, there was a great bit of positivity thrown into it with the performances, which is always good. And I kept saying, yes, you can't diss the performances at all because everyone just did such a fantastic job. Love how he says that line. Do not piss me off. And I love how still like Charlie is like with Jason because he's trying to, even though like Tyson is trying to threaten Jason so much, it's nice to see that Jason just doesn't show that he's terrified. I mean, deep down, there's definitely fear there, but you can kind of see that Jason is really just trying to hold in his nerve and like trying to show that he doesn't want to be afraid of Tyson. He wants to fight back and show what he can do. And show that he can fight back. And obviously we wanted that because we didn't want Jason to be like totally scared of Tyson. We knew there was a bit of fear there, but at the same time, we knew that if there was a fight, Jason would definitely lose. But Jason is trying to show that he is not trying to show any fear. And I think in a way, Tyson does kind of appreciate that and kind of like, think, wow, Jason can stand up to me. But at the same time, Tyson does need Jason to get the ring. So although he wants to kill him, at the same time, he can't because otherwise he won't get the ring. So it kind of like it doesn't fall two ways on the characters, but it does seem to flow very well. And this is the first time that me and Charlie's characters are reunited since the very beginning of the film. And we filmed this scene just under the embankment bridge, which I admit wasn't a good choice because of the roads and the noise and everything else, but. Like I said, we tried to make sure that this was in London and we tried to show a very central London kind of theme to it. But, unfortunately, it didn't turn out as good as we planned and it just went all over the place. And like I said, but this was filmed as well with the old camera that I used for Big Crime in a Small Town. And obviously now that I have a better camera, I think if I had filmed Cold Street on a different camera and made it like the way, like I tried to execute with the other cameras, I think that maybe it probably would have turned out much, much better. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world. Cold Street's been done. But, I have been thinking rebooting this film could be also a good idea. Redo the mistakes that I have done with this film and make something better and try and come up with a story that I would love to come up with because most of the times when I do make my feature films, most of the time they do sometimes turn out how I want them to be, but it's about, I'd say, 85% how I want it to be, and there's about 15-20% which doesn't turn out how I wanted it because either the actors are not available or because they didn't show up to do a scene or because it wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, stuff like that, And the thing is, the actors are the key to the whole entire film. They have to make sure that it turns out as good as it can be. But when a film does turn out how I want it to be, then I've got no problems with it. Cash in the Pond, to be honest, had the most of what I wanted from everything else. The Wonders of Alice as well, definitely, because we managed to do the ballroom scene, which is also something that I really, really wanted to be put involved. And, The Looking Glass, that was sort of what I always wanted, but it was just mostly the ending that had changed. And because also, the actors weren't always in the same scenes and the same shots, unfortunately, they didn't turn out as I wanted it. So it is really hard to get the same people together. That's why when I try and write scenes, I always try to only add literally just one or two characters in a scene. But if there is a gathering scene, then I think, right, well, let's see what we can do if we can mix the characters together. But sometimes it just doesn't turn out how you want it to because it's really difficult. But at the same time, it has to kind of come out how you want it to come out. But with Cold Street, this did come out how I wanted it to with the scenes and stuff. Just unfortunately, I think I knew that I made mistakes with the storyline and everything, and. But like I said, I'm still a beginner. I'm still trying to get out there, and obviously, once I start making the big stuff, that's when things will start to get better. But I do know how to make films and how it's all done. I've done a lot of university research and everything like that. But it's just trying to get those films to make them out there. So now you can see what it is I'm trying to execute out there and trying to get out for and see how far it can go. And so far, I must say, after 16 years of filmmaking, very proud how far I've come from like Cold Street now to maybe so far that like Pine, definitely big improvements. So this scene again filmed at Paragon and Grazie there. was showing that this is like the morning day, and Grazie's wearing her dressing gown in this scene. I mean, it was funny because I said to Grazie, you have to bring your dressing gown because your character, it's the morning and she's got to show that she's woken up and everything. And Grazie had this big puffy dotted dressing gown to wear, and she was like, "This is the most comfortable dressing gown that I could have," and I can show it off in the film, and she did. And to be honest, it just suits her character very well because obviously she's that type of character that when she wants to have a morning in with the dressing gown, she does. Plus it makes it look more homely as well, like the feel of wearing those sort of clothes inside, because wearing something like scruffy and not too smart, and otherwise you look, because there are some scenes where they have indoor stuff and they always wear like proper smart clothes and stuff like that, even though it's supposed to be their home. They've still got their shoes on and stuff like that. When really they should just have their shoes off and they should wear scruffy clothes or a dressing gown or something like that to show that this is more homely. Now this part here, there's a gate there, as you can see. It looks like a part where I could actually film a horror, and I've always wanted to film a short horror there, and I haven't had the chance yet. But now watching back on this location, I can actually remember, oh yeah, I've got to go down there one day and film a little horror right where that location is, where the gate is. So thank you so much for letting me do the audio commentary to remind myself that I've got to go and film there one day. Now, here is my favourite scene of the entire film, which is, of course, where Grazie delivers the best performance ever, where she actually cries at at this scene. And after this scene was done, she literally was in tears. She was crying. She was sad. She just did such an incredible job with this role. Like honestly, it's still one of my definitely my favourite moments, and definitely one of my favourite scenes in the entire film because I think it's just one of the most best performances that Grazie managed to pull off. Like, and it just works. And you can just literally see the tears there. And then she literally just starts weeping, and she did, and she just pulled it off amazingly. And so this little montage bit here is with, of course, with the music added to the sadness, is to show that every character now is going through a bit of a turmoil moment. So I thought this added really well to the mix of each character literally thinking about what they're going to do next, what's going to happen to them. They're all been put in this horrible position. You know, what are they going to have to do to sort it all out? And I just love that I managed to get each shot of that and just mix it all together and put it and add the music and make sure that they all, had each focus on what sadness was coming and like which moment and like what's going to happen next. And I just love that. Like it's just such a great little moment with the characters to really reflect on what's going to happen next and what's going to be the next story. Oh look, there's my close up. Oh dear. Right, so Grazie here, bless her little heart, she, literally did get tied to this fence. We did use tape, and she literally was quite stuck on the fence. I mean, obviously, no harm came to her, of course, despite these scenes that are quite threatening. But Grazie, bless her, she was, she was such a fantastic sport, and I taped her hands from behind, and there's this bit of fence, as you can see. Look, it's all rigged and wrecked and everything. Although I don't think it's still there now at the park. I haven't been to the park for ages, so I don't know if that bit of fence has been pulled off and taken away. Um, but yeah, Grazi was tied to the fence, and when she struggled, she actually couldn't get out, and I was like, "Good, I don't want you to, because you're supposed to act like you are in trouble when you're stuck." And so she literally just like wriggled around with the tape and everything, and just done like, can I get out? Can I get free? And she couldn't, and so I was like, "Good, so I need you to struggle." So luckily, she was able to struggle without ripping the tape and everything. But in fact, you can actually see the tape in my pocket, like, that big round thing that was in my pocket earlier. That was the tape that we used. We had to carry it around, and luckily, we only had to use the tape once on Grazi because, like I said, because she was tied up to the fence, she literally couldn't get out, and yeah, she was trying to literally break free for the scene and try to struggle, but it was good because she wriggled the broken fence, as you can see, and it kind of worked. And I said, that's great, that's what we want. But like I said, I don't know if that fence is still there. I think when they were doing like little bits of development and stuff, like like doing some digging and cutting down some trees, I think that fence has now been pulled off and taken away. But I don't know. But I'll have to try and check and see if it is there. But I'm so happy that using Boston Manor Park here makes it look bigger, makes it look different, makes it look wider, and yeah, so it just looks really, really great. I really enjoy working with Grazi here. Like I said, she was a great sport, and like I said, we were really close friends in university. We worked together quite a lot on many things, and we had like great film knowledge and everything. We hung out quite a bit, and she was literally my best friend of university. So it was always great to have a best friend when you're in uni or when you're in a different course and everything. But we met from day one. Actually, it was quite funny. We met during the beginning of the course thing, and like how we found out we were going to be in the same class together, and that's how we sort of just became really close friends, and then we just started working together from then on. So yeah, and right now, currently, she's engaged to be married, and she's actually going to have a baby. So yeah, congratulations to Grazi, and I wish her nothing but all the best, because I actually haven't seen her for quite a while. Actually, I don't think I've seen her for about over a year. Not because of COVID, but because she's been busy and I've been busy. So I think we've definitely gone our separate ways now. Yeah, putting Grazi on the tape of the mouth. I mean, that was quite funny because that also just took one bit of tape as well. Had to make sure it was positioned okay, make sure her hair wasn't caught in it, and it also makes it look more like a proper hostage situation. I just love how Charlie got into that moment because, as a joke, I was like, I want you to go look through the bushes and then pretend there's a big spider in your hair. And the bit where he stamps on it, that was his idea. He just ad libbed that part. He's like, a big spider, stamp, stamp. It just adds the comedy to it to make it really, really, make it really funny. So he just did a fantastic job there. He always knows how to make great comical scenes. Well, we should know. We do Archie and Jim, so there you go. In fact, 2016, the same year we did Cold Street, we did do Archie and Jim, like because Cold Street was luckily a success on YouTube, despite the negative reviews that we got. People did watch it, and we managed to get, I think, like over 600 views in just a few days. And because of the success of Cold Street, me and Charlie ended up making two short films together. We did Nerves of Stealing for a superhero short film, and then we ended up doing Archie and Jim, which was the thing that started it all off, with Lime. And now it's become a web series that we've started creating for the past 5 years, and yeah, we really enjoy making those together, and we still are. I mean, we're already planning series 4. Even though Grazi is crying there, she didn't actually use any real tears in this one. She did use real tears in the other scenes, but she didn't use any real tears for this one. But like I said to her, you don't mind if I like grab your face and stuff like. But she was like, no, go for it. She was like, go full force. So I kind of like had a bit of freedom here to kind of do a little bit of torture, even though I've never done a torture scene before. But she done a really great job, and this is one of my favourite gags. Oh, I just love that part. We always thought that we thought Warren is torturing Rita. What can Jason be doing? And I thought, wouldn't it be funny if he was trying to find out what was going on, but he was just like literally finding like the wrong places, the wrong time. Things kept happening. So first he has a spider in his hair, and now he's ended up going around in bloody circles. For a detective, he's not very smart, is he? He hasn't got a very good sense of direction, But it was quite funny. And Grazi running around with the tape, like that was fine. She managed to run with the tape and everything. In fact, she luckily managed to put her hands over the fence without ripping the tape. And then she was like, okay, I'm ready to run around with it. And she actually did quite a good job. So I was really happy with that. She honestly just played it so well. And again, me and Charlie hogging our little moment here, because obviously when me and Charlie get together, we've got to hog our scenes. And this is what we love doing. So this was really good. I remember as well, I was thinking, like, what can I hit you with? I need to find a giant stick. And luckily, there was this big stick already on the floor. And I was like, oh, I'll just use this one. And also, the most horrible thing about using sticks, though, as weapons, though, is they always break. It's so annoying. Like, you get a stick, and every time you try and use it, it always ends up breaking or being, just blocked or whatever. It's horrible. So, I have to try to make sure that if I do use a stick, it's like a big, thick stick to use as a weapon. Use something very, that's quite threatening. I mean, obviously, if my character had carried a prop like a baseball bat or something, that probably would have been better. But then I think, why would my character carry a baseball bat just because he's tied up his girlfriend, he's planning to kill her? It just wouldn't work. And also, it'd be really stupid if he pulled it out of his pocket or something. So the stick just seemed like the best thing to use because it's just quite natural he wants to use. And there we go, the old scene where he's knocked me out. Oh god, how soft were our fight scenes back then? Yeah, because before, like, these were obviously like beginning fight scenes, but nowadays our fight scenes are much more better and much more stronger than what they used to be. And Charlie, he's very used to being thrown around on the floor, so that was quite funny. I love that camera shot there. The big old, moving up to you, about to kill you kind of move. And of course, here comes the best part right here. Hey, love it. Actually, it's quite funny. We did like 2 takes on that because Grazi did the first one, and she actually thought that she had hurt me, but she didn't. She actually literally just missed my side. And then she was like, "Oh no, have I hurt you?" And I was like, "No, I'm good." And she was like, "Oh, good." And she kind of got worried that she was actually really going to hurt me, but she didn't. And again, Grazi used real tears here for this scene, for the death. Grazi just knew how to play a really like sad moment. Like she just did a fantastic job with it. And this is actually the last time we see Grazi's character. Originally, we did have an ending for her where she was packing her stuff and had a frame of me and her on a picture together, and then she binned the photo and then just went off. But for some reason, we decided not to use it because I just thought it'd be better if we just had Rita running away, and then we just never know what happens to her after. It kind of felt better that way because in a way, this isn't really about Rita. This is about Jason. And now that Rita's finally run away, she can just get away from, and Jason, on the other hand, now we can follow his story. And that's why I love that we flip from that story to this one. And of course, there's Benedict with his different clothes, because obviously he doesn't wear a suit in this scene. I told him not to, because obviously we thought it'd be best if he was wearing different clothes for the final showdown. And the part as well, instead of using guns all the time, because I tend to use guns quite a lot for my film scenes, obviously prop guns. I obviously didn't want guns to be put in this film I decided to use something different. So we came up with this idea. Well, I came up with this idea. Sorry, that the gangster had an electrical device, and that once Jason has got it onto him, Benedict's character presses it, he will be electrocuted to death. That was always such a great little line there. Benedict delivered so well, and Charlie was in the background trying not to laugh. But yeah, but we thought instead of using a gun, we thought why don't Tyson, use an explosive, dangerous electrical device to kill Jason, and so we thought that would work better. So that way, rather than do something quite different, because we thought, if we use a gun showdown, it just would have been so cliched. That punch was amazing because Charlie managed to do the punch right beside Benedict's face, and Benedict luckily did the quick reaction of moving. And what I'd done was I fast forward the footage to make it look quicker, and that punch was fantastic. And Benedict really ran across that scene, like they really honestly sprinted across that under that bridge. I love how more insane Benedict's character gets during the end because he's literally like so determined to kill him that he's just literally like he just feels like he's got nothing left to lose. Again, another good punch scene there. I think that would have worked better with some sound effects there. But the thing is, when I hear a kick, you don't really normally hear it, but I think a little sound effect probably would have worked there. But but I love how it just kind of flowed in, like with the attack, because we're trying to show that Tyson, he is the toughest one, and Jason wouldn't stand a chance to fight against him, and we wanted to show that. So that's why, luckily, we managed to put this scene in right here with to show that Tyson has accidentally killed himself, and that Jason is boasting more the brains and Tyson is more the brawn. So we wanted to add that sort of opposites of the both to show that Jason would rather use his head, and Tyson will always use his fists and violence. And luckily, Jason's brain has managed to win the goal. I'm actually very happy with how the electric was luckily all over Benedict's body there for him to die, and I like that. That was actually quite a good death scene. That's a great shot there of Charlie walking in the distance. I just love how that looks there. That is, I mean, there are some really good shots that I forgot how good they were. Like, not every shot is terrible. These shots do work. Like, there are some that do work. And obviously that ring, Charlie doesn't actually throw in the water. He just pretends to, because that ring actually belonged to my missus. So I had to say to her, "Don't worry, you're not going to lose your ring." And we just threw a pebble in the next part there. But Charlie had to pretend he was throwing the ring in the river. And I was like, "Don't actually throw that ring in the river, please, because my missus will kill me." And there you go. That's the end of Cold Street's commentary. So I hope you enjoyed the commentary, guys, as much as I've enjoyed talking to you about the making of the film and everything else. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this film definitely did have a very mixed reception when it was out. But at the end of the day, like I said, it was a very beginning film for us. And, it was one of our early productions. And, I admit that I did make mistakes with it. Of course I did. But hopefully we can maybe reboot this film one day and turn it into something more better. So fingers crossed for that. But yeah, that would be really awesome if we could. That would be great to reboot the film and see where we could take it. All right, guys. Well, listen, thank you so much for listening to the audio commentary of the film. and I'll be doing another one of these hopefully very soon with another film. And take care, and thanks for listening. So bye.